Hey everybody, it's Dr. P. I thought I'd try recording a YouTube video to answer some of the questions that you turned in yesterday. It used to be that when I taught Math 196V, I'd have people turn in questions on the cards, and then I'd write a 5-page long email writing a paragraph answer or so to each of the questions. I thought this might be easier and more enjoyable if I recorded a video where I answer some of the questions. It also allows me to use this whiteboard to answer some of the math questions that you asked. I'm going to start with some administrative questions that you asked. One of you asked, how many hour credits is this class? We meet for 2 hours a week, but it's only 1 hour credit. Again, the grading is SPE, meaning superior, pass, or fail. It's very rare for anybody to fail the course, but it will be only 1 hour credit. One of you asked, has this class been shown to be effective? That's a really good question. I work in math education, and I can tell you that it's actually very hard to show definitively whether a certain program or intervention or class is effective or not. I do have a lot of students who have told me that they enjoyed the class and that they feel they understood the subject better because they took it. I've had some students who took the class and did great on the final and ended up earning an A in the course. And it's always hard to say when someone does that whether they did that because of the class or they did that just because they would have earned an A anyway. So you can see why it might be hard to answer this question and give a really clear answer to it. I feel that it's effective or I wouldn't keep doing it. And I hope that you'll find that it's effective for you. But I think the real question is whether you feel that this class is enjoyable and it's helping your understanding of vector calc. One of you asked, which YouTube guide do you recommend? I'm assuming you mean to review skills like integration that you need for this course, and maybe also get supplementary instruction on things that you go over in class. I know that Khan Academy has videos about vector calculus. They are not going to be organized exactly the same way that our textbook is, so that's a little bit tricky. And the other thing about Khan Academy that I find imperfect is that there's a lot of focus on the how, but not as much on why things work, and probably not as much as you'll need in order to be successful in the course. So it's an incomplete resource, but I think it is a good way to get practice. Most of his videos that I've seen consist of him putting up some example problems and he goes through the solutions to them. So I think that you'll find that useful if you want extra practice on something during the semester. One of you asked, will we get more pizza? Sadly, I cannot afford to order pizza every week. I usually try to bring sweets each week, but next week you should eat lunch before coming to class. Thanks for asking. Okay, on to the math questions. One of you asked, how do you change bounds of integration? I'm assuming when you are doing substitution. So I'll show a demonstration of how to do that and try to write big enough so that it shows up on this video. So let's take one of the examples that we did yesterday, where I asked you to integrate from 1 to e squared the function natural log of t squared plus natural log of t to the 4th over t dt. Now, I'm recalling this question from memory, so it might not be exactly the same as what's in your notes, but I think that this is the same question. Okay, and the question is about how do you change the bounds of integration when you're using substitution. So I think that during class, most of you came up with the right substitution, which was u equals natural log of t. And then you rewrote the integral as u squared plus u to the 4th. And then you notice that du is equal to 1 over t dt, and that's conveniently located here. So what we have is u squared plus u to the 4th, and then this whole thing here that's your du. But now there's a question about what the bounds of integration should be, because we have t going from 1 to e squared in this integral, but it's likely that u is not going to be doing exactly the same thing. So to find out what u is doing, I need to look at the relationship between t and u. I have t going from 1 to e squared. T goes from 1 to e squared. Now, u is the natural log of whatever t is. So if t is 1, that means that u is going to be the natural log of that, which is 0. And then t is going to e squared, so u is going to go to whatever the natural log of that is. That's going to be 2. So my limits of integration are going to be from 0 to 2 in terms of u, and I think that you can handle the rest. But do keep in mind that if you don't remember how to do this technique or you're not comfortable with it, you can usually get by just by evaluating this indefinite integral without the limits of integration, and then substituting back so that you have something in terms of t, and then plugging in the limits of integration for t. And at this point, I'm going to stop my video and see whether this is showing up.